Hello, everyone. I'm Jess. This is where we get into the stories that stay with you a little too long. The ones that are messy, painful, sometimes unbelievable, and sometimes a little too real. Some are true, some aren't, and some you kind of wish weren't. Tonight's story is the first chapter in our werewolf series, The Alpha Twins. Chapter 1. The Truth She Was Never Meant to Hear. Congratulations, you are with child. The healer's words rang in Octavia's mind as she eagerly made her way toward her husband's chambers. Though Lionel had never once made her feel lacking for not becoming pregnant, months after months, year after year, the whispers at court had gotten louder. Why is the queen not pregnant yet? What must the king think? Well, this was it. She was pregnant now. The council would stop being concerned, and the court would stop whispering. But mostly, Lionel was going to be so happy. He had never cared about the rumors, not the way she had, but he did long to become a father. She imagined the way he would look when she told him, the shock cracking through his composure. He would pull her into his arms. He would kiss her breathless. He would probably cry. She smiled at the thought. She was not broken. They would have this. A family. She passed servants in the corridor, nodding absently at their bows, barely hearing the words they murmured. Her mind was already ahead of her, already in the room, already watching him turn and smile. But then, she stopped at his door. His scent hit her first. The scent of his arousal. She knew it intimately. It was how he smelled when he wanted her. But there was something else beneath it. Something sweeter. Something that made her stomach drop. The scent of a woman. A woman that was not her. Then she saw it. Bare skin. Too much of it. The woman was sprawled across the sheets in their bed. The same bed Octavia had woken in that very morning. And Lionel, stripped down to nothing, was leaning over her. The sound he made, low, rough pleasure and hunger twisted together, was one she knew. Had heard 1,000 times in the dark. That sound was hers. The woman's fingers dug into his shoulder, and he groaned. His voice broke, turning into something wordless as the woman wrapped her legs around him. And what if the queen finds out? She asked. Lionel laughed, breathless, careless. She won't, and even if she did. He shifted, and the woman gasped. I need this, he said, certain. I need an heir, and it's obvious she can't give me one. She's barren. 3 years and still nothing. Octavia didn't move. Didn't breathe. I'm fond of her, he added, his voice tight with pleasure. But this is necessary. The woman pulled him closer, urging him on. And he didn't hesitate. He gave himself to it completely, while Octavia quietly closed the door. Neither of them had seen her. She walked back down the corridor, the same way she had come a few moments earlier. Nodding at the same servants. Her face a mask of perfect composure. But the pregnancy news she had come to deliver had turned to ash in her chest. She made it to her chambers and quickly closed the door. She stood in the center of the room. And then she felt it. Her whole world came to a shattering end. Everything she believed they were. She was a fool. I'm fond of her, that's what he said. Her hand moved to her stomach, pressing against the place where the impossible was growing. Lionel did not know. She clenched her fists. And he would never know, because she would not give him this. The letter took longer to write than it should have. Lionel, she wrote, I have been unhappy for some time. I did not realize how much until recently. Court life does not suit me. This marriage does not suit me. You need an heir. I cannot give you one, we both know this. I am leaving. Do not follow me. This is better for both of us, Octavia. She did not mention the pregnancy. The child was hers. This joy was hers and only hers. He has made his choice. She folded the letter, sealed it, and set it on the desk. Then she began to pack. Somewhere behind her, her life was ending. And somewhere inside her, impossibly, another one was beginning. 2 other ones, actually. But she was still unaware of that and would only find that out in a few weeks. 7 years later. "Remind me again, Mama," Cora asked. "Why are we even going to this ball?" Octavia didn't reply immediately. She was staring at the invitation on her vanity, heavy, gold-edged, sealed with the royal crest she had once been entitled to use herself. She had opened it 3 days ago in her sister's drawing room, and then threw a vase at the wall. The crash had been deeply satisfying. "I thought you were over him," her sister Lori had said, not even looking up from her embroidery. "I am over him." Octavia had turned to her. "Completely over him. I do not care in the slightest what he does. I certainly do not care that he is getting married to Lady Emiline of all people." "You're shouting." "I am not." She stopped, forcing stillness into her voice. "I am perfectly calm." But truth is, she had not been calm. She had paced the length of the room twice, ranting about the audacity, the cruelty, the sheer, unmitigated gall of Lionel inviting her to watch him pledge himself to another woman. Then Nilo had walked in, small and worried, asking what was wrong. And before Octavia could answer, Cora had burst in behind him, blonde hair wild and untamed. "What's happening? Can I also throw something?" she asked. "I love breaking stuff." That was 3 days ago. Now Octavia stood in front of her mirror as servants tightened her gown. The dress was deep crimson silk, the color of wine and vengeance. It clung to her tall frame like it had been painted on. She looked like a queen, like a woman who had moved on. She smiled. If Lionel wanted to rub his engagement in her face, she would rub her entire life in his. She would walk into that ballroom and show him exactly what he had lost. She turned from the mirror to face her twins. "Listen to me," she said. "We are going to this ball for one reason only, to deliver the engagement gift and pay our respects to His Majesty the King. You will smile, you will be polite, but you will interact with no one." Nilo nodded seriously, his small face set. Cora opened her mouth in protest, but her mother cut her off. "No one," Octavia repeated. "And if anyone asks you questions, you say nothing. You let them assume whatever they want to assume." "Why?" Cora's eyes were sharp, curious, too perceptive for her own good. Octavia hesitated. She could not tell them the truth. That their father would be in that ballroom. That he did not know they existed. That she had spent 7 years making sure of it. The twins were hers, only hers. Everyone would see she had never been barren, but Lionel could never know they were his. "Because," she said carefully, "it is no one's business but ours." Cora's expression made it clear. She didn't buy that for a second, but Nilo reached for her arm and dragged her out behind him. "Yes, Mama," he said quietly. Cora sighed, dramatic as ever, her whole body protesting. Octavia chose to take that as agreement. An hour later, she stood outside the ballroom doors. Her heart wasn't steady. It was wild, uneven, dangerous. She was going to see him. After 7 years of silence, 7 years of absence, she was going to walk into that room and see Lionel again. God help her, she wanted to see his face when he saw her. The shock, the regret, the realization. The moment it hit him. The moment he would realize that she had survived him. She wanted him to hurt the way she had hurt when she saw them together 7 years ago, the night she had left, the night she witnessed her husband's betrayal with her own eyes, heard his words and his justifications for cheating on her. "Are you sure about this?" Flemings asked quietly, his eyes kind but concerned, a deep frown growing between them. She looked up at the huge building in front of them. Octavia took a deep, slow breath. "Completely," she replied. The ballroom was exactly as she remembered it. High vaulted ceilings, chandeliers dripping crystal, walls lined with silk and silver. She had helped plan events in this room once. Now she stood in the doorway as a guest and felt the room notice her. It started as a ripple, heads turning, conversations pausing. Then the whispers began, moving through the crowd like a current. Octavia lifted her chin and took Fleming's offered arm. The twins fell into step beside her, Nilo on her left, moving with careful precision. Cora on her right, barely containing the urge to skip. Together, they walked into the room. The crowd parted, and Octavia felt every eye on her. Measuring, assessing, remembering. She had been their barren queen once. She had disappeared without explanation, and now she was here, composed, beautiful. Accompanied by 2 children no one had known existed, wearing a dress the color of a declaration of war. This was what she had come for, this moment. Her eyes swam over the sea of people, people from other packs. They came from far and wide. Old faces she recognized, and new ones filled with expectation and wonder for what the future might hold. She kept on walking until she saw the huge tables, her eyes gliding over every face. And then, she saw him,